The massive crystal doors of the Galactic Council chamber slowly opened. Ambassador Sarah Chen took a deep breath, straightened her formal blue uniform, and walked forward. Her footsteps echoed in the vast hall as thousands of alien eyes watched her. This was humanity's first official contact with the Galactic Council, and she carried Earth's hopes with her. High Counselor Zax Thor, a tall being with silvery skin and 4 arms, looked down at her from his elevated platform. His upper lip curled in what Sarah recognized as disgust. The gesture was similar enough to human expressions that its meaning was clear. "So," Zax Thor's voice boomed through the chamber, "these are the representatives of species 3742, the ones who call themselves humans." He pronounced the word like it was something unpleasant. Dr. James Rodriguez, Earth's chief scientist, stood beside Sarah. His hand tightened on his data tablet. They had prepared months for this meeting, ready to show humanity's achievements and potential. But something in Zax Thor's tone told Sarah this wasn't going to go as planned. "We have observed your species," another council member spoke. This one had green scales and eyes that glowed yellow. "Your technology is primitive. You have barely reached your own moon. You still burn fossil fuels. You fight among yourselves." Sarah stepped forward. "With respect, we have made great progress in recent years. Our renewable energy sector is growing. We have united many nations under the Earth Defense Alliance. Our scientific achievements—" Silence. Zax Thor's voice cut through her words. "You speak when permitted, primitive one." The chamber filled with alien laughter. Sarah's cheeks burned, but she kept her face neutral. Years of diplomatic training hadn't prepared her for this level of disrespect. Dr. Rodriguez tried to speak up. "If you would just review our technological presentations." "We have seen enough," a third council member interrupted. This one was floating in a bubble of liquid. "Your species has resources we need. Your planet's location is strategic. That is the only reason you stand here today." Sarah felt her heart sink. This wasn't a diplomatic meeting. It was a threat assessment. "The Council has decided," Zax Thor announced. "Earth will be placed under Category C protection. We will establish bases on your moon and control your space travel. Your resources will be managed by Council representatives. This is a generous offer. Many species receive no protection at all." "Protection?" Sarah couldn't stay quiet. "You mean occupation?" More laughter filled the chamber. Zax Thor smiled, showing rows of metallic teeth. "You see, they don't even understand basic galactic politics. Such a simple species." As Sarah and Dr. Rodriguez were escorted out of the chamber, she noticed something strange. Not all the alien representatives were laughing. Some looked uncomfortable. Others seemed interested in the humans' reactions. A few even looked sympathetic. Back on their ship, Sarah punched the wall in frustration. "They didn't even look at our presentations. They had decided before we walked in." Dr. Rodriguez was unusually quiet. Finally, he spoke. "They don't know." "Don't know what?" "They don't know about Project Phoenix, the quantum shields, the antimatter drives, the nano-weapons." He looked at her with determination. "They think we're primitive because that's what our decoy satellites show them." Sarah's anger slowly turned into understanding. "So when they try to establish those bases, they'll learn how wrong they are." Rodriguez smiled. "General Santos has been waiting for my signal. Earth's real defense grid is ready." As their ship headed back to Earth, Sarah looked at the massive council station through the window. They thought humans were simple, primitive, and weak. Soon, they would learn how wrong they were. Sometimes, the most dangerous enemy is the one you underestimate. The real question was, when the Council discovered Earth's true power, would they respond with respect or with fear? Either way, humanity was ready. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Maria Santos walked through a massive underground facility. Blue lights from quantum computers reflected off her dark uniform. Hundreds of scientists and military personnel worked at their stations, preparing for what everyone knew was coming. "Show me the latest test results," she ordered, approaching the central command station. Dr. Rodriguez pulled up a holographic display. The Council's spy satellites just passed over us again. All they saw was a normal military base. "Our quantum shielding technology is working perfectly." The general smiled. For years, Earth had shown the galaxy a carefully crafted mask of primitive technology. Meanwhile, underground facilities like this one held humanity's real advances. "What about their latest scan?" she asked. "They're still using basic energy detection systems," Sarah Chen answered, joining them at the command station. After the humiliating council meeting, she had returned to help coordinate Earth's defense. "They can't detect our antimatter storage facilities or the nanoforge chambers." A young scientist rushed up to them, holding a tablet. "General, the human enhancement trials are complete. The results are amazing." On the main screen, video footage showed soldiers performing impossible feats. Thanks to carefully controlled nanite infusions, human troops could now run faster, heal quickly, and even survive in space for short periods without suits. "The Council thinks we're weak because we evolved on a high-gravity world," Dr. Rodriguez explained. "They don't understand that this made us stronger. Our bodies adapt faster than any species they've encountered." Suddenly, alarms flashed red. A lieutenant called out, "General, Council ships are approaching lunar orbit. They're earlier than expected." "Right on schedule," General Santos said calmly. "Begin Operation Shadow." Across the Earth, hidden facilities activated. What appeared to be normal cities, mountains, and oceans transformed. Quantum shields shifted, revealing massive defense platforms. But to the Council's primitive scanners, everything still looked normal. In space, Council ships moved confidently. Their commanders hadn't even bothered with full combat crews. Why would they need them for such a primitive world? "Council vessels are preparing to land on the moon," the lieutenant reported. "They're starting construction of their bases." Ambassador Chen watched the screens. "Should we stop them?" "Not yet," General Santos replied. "Let them build. Let them think they have control. It will make the truth more impactful." Dr. Rodriguez showed them another display. "Our spies in the Council report that several smaller species are watching Earth closely. They've suffered under Council rule for centuries. They're hoping we'll prove the Council can be challenged." "And we will," General Santos said firmly. "But first, we gather intelligence. We learn their weaknesses. We let them think they've won." On the moon, Council forces continued their work, unaware that every move was being watched by advanced Earth sensors. The bases they were building would never be used for their intended purpose. Instead, they would become Earth's first capture targets when the real war began. "The Council called us primitive," Ambassador Chen said, watching the alien ships move through space. "They laughed at us. But they never asked why a primitive species could survive and thrive on what they call a death world. They never wondered why we adapt so quickly to new challenges." General Santos nodded. "And that's their biggest mistake. They judge by their standards, their evolution, their history. They don't understand that Earth's harsh conditions didn't make us weak. They made us unstoppable." As night fell over the facility, Earth's hidden strengths continued to grow. In labs, factories, and training grounds, humans prepared for the coming conflict. The Council thought they were dealing with simple primitives. Soon, they would learn what happens when you underestimate humanity. The real question wasn't if Earth would win. The question was how many Council species would survive the lesson they were about to learn. The Council fleet appeared suddenly in Earth's orbit. 50 massive warships, their metal hulls gleaming in the sunlight. High Councilor Zaxthor stood on his command ship's bridge, watching the primitive planet below with a satisfied smile. "Begin the demonstration," he ordered. "Show these humans what real power looks like." The first shots fired from the Council ships were meant to destroy Earth's major cities. They expected panic, surrender, and chaos. Instead, something impossible happened. The energy beams hit invisible barriers and disappeared. Earth's quantum shields, hidden for years, finally revealed themselves. Blue energy fields shimmered across the sky, forming complex patterns that no primitive species should have been able to create. Impossible, Thor shouted. Their technology level. We checked. They shouldn't. Sir, his officer screamed. Earth ships. Hundreds of them. They're appearing out of nowhere. From hidden bases on Earth, the Moon, and even Mars, humanity's real fleet emerged. Sleek black ships with advanced stealth technology, each carrying weapons the Council had never seen before. General Santos stood in Earth's main command center, her voice calm but firm. All units, execute Battle Plan Phoenix. Show them what Earth can really do. The first wave of Earth ships released swarms of nanic missiles. Instead of exploding, they ate through the Council ship's armor like acid through paper. Council crews watched in horror as their superior technology crumbled. Ambassador Chen, now coordinating with Earth's allies, sent a message across all frequencies. Attention Council forces, your scans were wrong. Your assumptions were wrong. This is your only warning. Retreat or be destroyed. Thor, his arrogance turning to fear, ordered his fleet to fire everything they had. But Earth's ships were too fast, too agile. Humans in enhanced battle suits flew through space, boarding Council ships with terrifying speed. How? A captured Council officer asked as Earth forces took control of his ship. You were primitive. We saw. You saw what we wanted you to see. A human soldier replied. Next time, maybe don't judge a species by their satellites. On Earth's moon, the Council's newly built bases were already captured. Dr. Rodriguez led teams of scientists to study the alien technology, though most of it was already outdated compared to Earth's hidden advances. Sir, a lieutenant called to General Santos. 3 Council ships are trying to escape to warn their homeworld. The general smiled. Let them go. It's time the galaxy learned the truth about Earth. The battle lasted less than 2 hours. When it ended, 45 Council ships were captured or destroyed. Only the 3 they allowed to escape remained, carrying news of Earth's power back to the Galactic Council. In the command center, Earth's leaders watched live feeds from across the solar system. Captured Council soldiers looked shocked as they saw humans walking through space in advanced suits, using technology that should have been impossible for a primitive species. Send word to our hidden allies, Ambassador Chen said. Tell them Earth's victory is complete. The revolution can begin. Dr. Rodriguez checked his data screens. Other oppressed species are already calling. They want to join us against the Council. They want our help. General Santos nodded. The Council thought they were punishing a weak species. Instead, they woke a sleeping giant. Now the real war begins. As the sun set over Earth, news of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy. Species that had suffered under Council rule for centuries saw hope for the first time. Earth wasn't just fighting for itself, it was fighting to change the entire galaxy. The Council had wanted to teach humanity its place in the galaxy. Instead, they learned a painful lesson. Never underestimate humans. The first strike was over, but the real battle for the galaxy's future was just beginning. The Galactic Council's Grand Chamber was no longer filled with laughter. Instead, angry shouts and accusations flew between different alien species. The news of Earth's victory had shattered their confidence. You told us humans were primitive. A reptilian counselor shouted at Thor. Now our fleet is destroyed, and Earth controls our moon bases. Thor's silver skin had lost its shine. Our scans, our data, everything showed they were simple creatures. We don't know how they hid their true power. In the middle of this chaos, Ambassador Corell of the Meridian species stood up. His blue tentacles moved calmly as he spoke. Perhaps we should ask ourselves why we were so quick to judge Earth as primitive. How many other species have we wrongly labeled as weak? Security footage from the battle played on large screens around the chamber. Council members watched in horror as Earth's advanced ships and enhanced human soldiers defeated their superior forces. Meanwhile, in a secret meeting room, Counselor Mira met with Ambassador Chen. Mira's crystalline body sparkled as she spoke quietly. Many smaller species want to join Earth's cause. We have suffered under the Council's corrupt rule for too long. Sarah Chen nodded. Earth is ready to support all species who want freedom. But we need inside information. How deep does the Council's corruption go? Deeper than you imagine, Mira replied, showing her a hidden data crystal. The Council has been stealing technology from primitive species for centuries. Then they destroy the evidence and claim the innovations as their own. Back in the main chamber, more accusations flew. Several council members had already fled, fearing punishment for their crimes. Others were quickly trying to make alliances with Earth's representatives. Dr. Rodriguez, analyzing data with his team, made a shocking discovery. The Council's entire classification system is fake, he reported to General Santos. They label species as primitive if they can't fight back, then steal their resources. The general shared this information with their growing network of allies. Within hours, protests broke out on dozens of Council worlds. Species that had been oppressed for generations saw Earth's victory as a sign to rise up. The Council is losing control, Ambassador Curl reported. 3 major trading hubs have already declared independence. They want Earth's protection instead of Council control. Zaxthor made one last desperate attempt to maintain power. We must unite, he shouted in the chamber. Earth is just one world. Together, we can crush. Enough. Counselor Mira's voice cut through his words. The data is public now. Everyone knows about the corruption, the stolen technologies, the lies. Screens around the chamber showed proof of the Council's crimes. Documents, videos, and testimonies from hundreds of species revealed centuries of abuse and theft. In Earth's command center, General Santos watched the Council's political structure collapse. Sometimes, she said to Ambassador Chen, the strongest weapon isn't a warship, it's the truth. More Council members switched sides every hour. Some offered valuable intelligence about defense systems and secret bases. Others revealed hidden technologies that had been stolen from primitive species. The age of Council corruption is ending, Ambassador Corell announced to cheering crowds on his homeworld. Earth has shown us that true strength isn't about superior technology or ancient power. It's about justice, unity, and courage. As the Council's power crumbled, a new alliance began to form. Earth, once dismissed as primitive, was now the center of a growing coalition of free species. The political chaos wasn't just destroying the old order. It was building something new and better. The real revolution wouldn't be won with weapons alone. It would be won with truth, justice, and the unbreakable spirit that Earth was teaching the galaxy to embrace. General Santos stood on the bridge of Earth's new flagship, the HFY Phoenix. Through the massive view screen, she watched as 500 Earth ships moved into position. Behind them, another 300 vessels from their alien allies joined the formation. All ships report ready, her lieutenant announced. Operation Liberation is go. The general's voice carried across all channels. Remember your training. Today we free the galaxy from corruption. Launch the attack. Earth's fleet jumped into hyperspace, using technology that the Council never imagined humans could possess. They appeared simultaneously above 3 major Council worlds, their advanced weapons already charged. Ambassador Chen, coordinating from Earth Command, received urgent messages from Council worlds. They're surrendering, she announced. 7 systems have already pledged to join our alliance without a fight. On the Council's primary military base, Zaxthor watched in horror as Earth's ships tore through their superior defenses like paper. Human soldiers in enhanced battle suits breached their strongest fortifications in minutes. How are they so fast? A Council commander screamed as humans appeared inside their secure bunker. Our scanners can't even track them. Dr. Rodriguez, monitoring the battle from his science station, smiled. Quantum tunneling technology. While they thought we were primitive, we learned to bend space itself. The battles were swift and decisive. Earth's forces, combining advanced technology with human adaptability, proved unstoppable. Their enhanced soldiers could fight in any environment, while their ships used weapons that bypassed traditional defenses. Main Council fleet detected. The Phoenix's sensors officer called out. They're trying to regroup at Station Alpha. General Santos nodded. Just as we predicted. Ambassador Corell, is your fleet in position? Ready and waiting. The Meridian commander replied. His ships, hidden behind a nearby moon, would trap the Council forces between two armies. The trap worked perfectly. When the Council fleet arrived at Station Alpha, they found themselves caught in a massive crossfire. Earth ships appeared from above, while Meridian vessels struck from below. Their main flagship is disabled, a tactical officer reported. Should we destroy it? No, General Santos ordered. Capture it. Let the galaxy see their mighty leaders surrender to the primitives they mocked. Inside the Council flagship, chaos reigned. Leaders who had once laughed at Earth now begged for mercy. Human soldiers, moving with enhanced speed and strength, secured the ship deck by deck. Ambassador Chen coordinated with their allies across the galaxy. Reports coming in. 30 more systems have declared independence from the Council. They're requesting to join our alliance. Dr. Rodriguez's team had already begun studying captured Council technology. Most of their advanced systems are actually stolen from other species, he reported. They've been lying about their technological superiority for centuries. On dozens of worlds, oppressed species rose up against their Council overlords. Earth's victory sparked a revolution that spread like wildfire across the galaxy. This is just the beginning, General Santos announced to her fleet. We're not just winning a war, we're building a new future. A future where no species is called primitive, where technology and knowledge are shared, not stolen. The Council's main fleet was captured intact. Their military bases fell one by one. Species that had suffered under their rule for generations finally tasted freedom. As the dust settled, Earth emerged not just as a military victor, but as a symbol of hope. They had proved that true strength comes not from domination, but from justice and unity. The counterattack was complete, but humanity's real mission was just beginning. They would help build a new galactic society, one based on respect, cooperation, and the incredible potential that every species possessed. The former Council chamber looked very different now. Gone were the towering thrones that had placed Council leaders above everyone else. Instead, a circular table filled the space, with representatives from all species sitting as equals. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the center, addressing the first meeting of the new Galactic Assembly. The old Council ruled through fear and lies. Today, we build something different. A government where all species have a voice. The chamber, once filled with mockery and arrogance, now buzzed with hope and determination. Even former Council members, those who had survived their crimes being exposed, sat humbly among those they once called primitive. Our first act, Chen announced, is to abolish the species classification system. No more primitive or advanced labels. Every civilization has something valuable to offer. Dr. Rodriguez presented his findings to the Assembly. We've discovered that many of humanity's impossible advances were actually developed by other species first. The Council stole their work and buried their achievements. On the massive screens around the chamber, evidence showed how the Council had suppressed innovation and stolen technology for centuries. Species after species came forward to reclaim their lost heritage. Ambassador Corell, now leading the Technology Sharing Committee, stood up. Earth has offered to share all their advancements freely. Their only condition is that we pass this knowledge forward to help others grow. General Santos, watching from her command post, received reports from across the galaxy. Former Council worlds were transforming. Hidden technologies were being returned to their rightful creators. Ancient wrongs were being made right. The quantum shield technology. A former Council scientist asked nervously. It wasn't just Earth's creation, was it? No, Dr. Rodriguez replied. The basic principles were developed by the Centauri, whom you labeled as primitive. Earth simply helped them complete their work. That's real civilization. Species working together, not stealing from each other. Counselor Mira, her crystalline form glowing with emotion, addressed the assembly. For 10,000 years, the Council maintained power through division and fear. Earth showed us a better way. They proved that true strength comes from unity and justice. The assembly worked tirelessly to build new systems of governance. Every species, no matter their size or technological level, received equal representation. Decisions required consensus, not just the will of the powerful. What about those who resist? Someone asked. Some former council members still cling to the old ways. Ambassador Chen's response was firm but fair. They will face justice for their crimes, but we won't repeat their mistakes. No revenge, no oppression. We build a better future, not repeat the past's errors. Former enemies became allies. Species that had fought for centuries found common ground. Earth's example, rising from primitive status to galactic leadership, inspired everyone to look past old prejudices. Look at what we've achieved in just weeks, Corell announced, displaying statistics. Free technology sharing has already advanced medical care on 50 worlds. Clean energy systems are replacing pollution on hundreds more. The Assembly's final act that day was to establish the Galactic Scientific Coalition. Every species would contribute their knowledge, and all would benefit from shared discoveries. As the session ended, Ambassador Chen looked out at the faces of so many different species, former council members, longtime allies, and newly freed civilizations, all working together, all equals at last. The revolution isn't just about changing who holds power, she told them. It's about changing how we see each other. Earth wasn't special because we were stronger or smarter. We were special because we never stopped believing in justice. The old council was gone forever. In its place, a new age of cooperation and respect was beginning. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what everyone wanted. 5 years had passed since Earth's victory changed the galaxy. The view from the observation deck of Harmony Station showed how much had changed. Ships from hundreds of species flew peaceful routes through space, sharing lanes that once belonged only to council vessels. Ambassador Sarah Chen, now serving as the first elected leader of the Galactic Federation, watched a group of young aliens studying at the station's academy. Humans learned alongside beings from across the galaxy, sharing knowledge that had once been forbidden. Remember when they called us primitive? Dr. Rodriguez asked, joining her at the window. His science team had just finished installing new quantum communication arrays that would connect even the most distant worlds. Hard to believe it was only 5 years ago, Sarah replied. Sometimes I wonder if Saxthor and the old council would even recognize the galaxy now. Below them, in the station's massive garden dome, former council worlds representatives worked with species they once oppressed. Together, they planned new trade routes, shared technological innovations, and solved problems that had plagued their civilizations for centuries. General Santos, who now led the Federation's peace force, appeared on a nearby screen. The last pocket of council loyalists surrendered this morning, she reported. They saw how much better life has become under the Federation. They want to join us. The changes were visible everywhere. Worlds once stripped of resources now flourished with clean energy technology. Species that had hidden their innovations now openly shared their discoveries. The galaxy had transformed from a place of fear and domination to one of cooperation and growth. Ambassador Corell, his tentacles moving excitedly, rushed into the observation deck. The Ascension project is ready. Every species that contributes has full access to the database. 10,000 years of hidden knowledge, finally free. On screens throughout the station, statistics showed the Federation's success. Poverty reduced by 80% across all worlds. Scientific advancement rate increased 500%. Interspecies conflicts down 95%. Energy efficiency improved 300%. Medical care available to all species. Look there, Dr. Rodriguez pointed out the window. A massive ship was approaching, built through cooperation between 20 different species. 5 years ago, they wouldn't even share simple engine designs. Now they're building wonders together. In the station's medical bay, human doctors worked alongside alien healers, combining their knowledge to cure diseases that had once seemed hopeless. The Council's old habit of hoarding medical advances was replaced by open sharing that saved billions of lives. Counselor Mira, her crystalline form shimmering, presented the latest cultural exchange reports. We've documented 10,000 new forms of art created through interspecies collaboration. The galaxy isn't just more advanced, it's more beautiful. Sarah moved to the center of the observation deck, where a monument stood. It showed a simple Earth ship, the one that had first faced the Council's mockery. Around it, words in 100 languages spelled out the Federation's founding principle. No species is primitive. All have worth. Together we rise. We didn't just win a war, she told the gathered representatives. We didn't just overthrow corruption. We proved that the galaxy's greatest strength is unity. When we stop fearing each other, when we share instead of steal, when we lift each other up instead of pushing others down, that's when we truly advance. As the station rotated, Earth came into view. Once dismissed as a primitive world, it now stood as a symbol of hope, not because it had defeated the Council, but because it had shown the galaxy a better way to live. The old order was gone forever. In its place stood something greater, a civilization where every species could reach its full potential, where primitive was just a word in history books, where humanity's fierce retaliation had led not to revenge, but to revolution. And the galaxy was better for it.